Now, one of the great things about MASV is something called MASV portals. So if I need to receive content, usually if I'm asking someone, hey, can you send me that 100 gigabytes, right? You kind of put the responsibility on them to find that solution. With a MASV portal, you can fire that up, send me the link to the MASV portal because it's just a web page, and I can immediately start sending you content. So MASV is the most reliable and fastest cloud-based file transfer system.
That's it?
That's it. It really is that simple. I know that maybe there needs to seem like there's a little bit more explanation there, but really file transfer is one of those key things in anybody's workflow that is unavoidable.
But I've talked to Signiant, I've talked to LucidLink, I've talked to WeTransfer, I've talked to Hightail, I'm now talking to MASV. Why should I care about you?
MASV is extremely easy to use. So not only are we the most reliable and the fastest file transfer service, but we offer the user a much more frictionless workflow. So for example, when you're talking about Signiant, when you're talking about Aspera, that's not necessarily the most easy thing to set up. There's infrastructure, there's IT lead time, there's a lot of IT overhead with those solutions. The great thing about MASV is that today, right now, Larry, if you wanted to send me this interview, I could have you up and running in a portal in less than 5 minutes, and I could receive that file.
Do I have to have MASV software at each end?
No, you don't. So that is kind of the great thing about it, right? So Signiant, Aspera, those kind of solutions, those more enterprise solutions, they require hardware, they require plugins. Some people can install things on their work machine to receive files, right? Some people don't have the time to install things, troubleshoot things. They need their content now so that they can start working. So MASV doesn't require a plugin. It's all in the browser, and we do have an optional desktop app that you can use as well. So the differences is that in a browser we're limited to the features of that browser, right? So if we're using something like Chrome, like most people do, if that browser crashes or something like that, that's going to interrupt our download or our upload. Now, in the browser, we can get about 5 gigabits per second.
I don't want to, pop your bubble, as it were, and
that's
spoil your day and all that sort of stuff.
That's
but
okay.
I have 500 megabits up.
Yeah.
And 40 megabits down.
Yeah.
Okay, that's my bandwidth.
100%.
I can't go faster than that. I am locked into that speed. I don't care what your software does. I can't go faster than what I go already. Why do I buy your software?
So the great thing is that we can actually get a little faster than that.
No way.
So how we do that, though, is I'm not necessarily just going to use that. Okay? Now, do you have a cell phone?
I have been known to use one from time to time.
Okay, great. So MASV has something called MASV Multi-Connect. And so inside the software, if you wanted to take your cell phone, your Wi-Fi, your Ethernet connection, maybe even have a USB 5G router, right? So that's 4 connections. Maybe even have a Starlink. Let's make it 5. You can attach those all to your workstation, whether that's to a laptop, a desktop, maybe through a dock. And MASV, in our desktop app, we can actually bond those connections together through software.
Yeah, but that's, no. It doesn't work that way.
Sure.
Because I've got one link to the internet.
Of course.
I don't care if I have Wi-Fi and 17 devices on the Wi-Fi. I still have one link to the web. Mm-hmm. And that one link has got 500 gig up, 500 gig down, and 50 gig up.
Right. So 500 meg, 500...
Whatever it is.
Yeah.
Some number up and some number down.
Yeah.
So how do you, are you doing UDF? Are you doing special compression? You messing with my media? You changing the file names? What are you doing?
We're not doing anything to that. Okay, so we don't touch your media. We don't change your folder structure. You could upload a folder structure that's 50 folders deep and has millions of files. We'll take that right through the browser and we'll deliver that exactly how you uploaded it. We're not compressing anything. In fact, we're not even using UDP, which is what...
UDP is the word I was thinking of.
Yeah, so Signiant and Aspera, UDP is a little bit of a network bully, right? It can really take over a lot of bandwidth. So the nice thing with MASV is that we're actually over TCP. So if you can access facebook.com, google.com, you can actually use MASV. So we don't necessarily need to open up any ports or anything like that. You don't need to have an IT degree to set up a file transfer. Now, one of the great things about MASV is something called MASV portals. So if I need to receive content, usually if I'm asking someone, hey, can you send me that 100 gigabytes, right? You kind of put the the responsibility on them to find that solution. With a Massive portal, you can fire that up, send me the link to the Massive portal because it's just a web page, and I can immediately start sending you content. And with that portal, what we can do is we can add our integrations. So that's another part of Massive, is that we have a lot of integrations, over 20, in fact.
And hold it, integration means what?
So integration means that we talk directly to that storage. So there's a few different types of integrations, right? We integrate with services like Frame.io, Iconic. We just launched Mimir as well. But then we also have other integrations like Amazon S3, Azure, right? Those are a bit more of those enterprise features. But then we also have guides to set up Synology, QNAP, so you can actually receive files directly to those storage platforms. And you can even send files from those storage platforms using Massive. Lots of different features, lots of different ways for you to send and receive those files. So with that Massive portal, if I need that content, let's say, on my Synology, and I also need it in Frame.io for someone else to comment on it, if we upload that to that Massive portal, I can actually send those files to both those locations at the same time.
The process is I upload to Massive's cloud. Massive's cloud sends it wherever I want.
Correct.
But what happens to that file on Massive's cloud? Because I don't want that data getting loose.
With portals, what we can do is we can add passwords to things for certain protection, but then also we can set expiry dates on those. So Massive, by default, will hold your files for about 10 days. And that's really useful. So if you're sending large packages and you need to send them multiple times, maybe to different folks, that file is already in the cloud. You don't have to upload that again. We don't have to go through that pain, that process, right? The other thing worth noting is that we're SOC 2 certified. We're a TPN Gold member as well, which matters a lot to some of those larger production studios. But if you're a content creator, you're using the same tools that the major studios are using in terms of security, right? You get that. No extra cost. That's what Massive is.
What have you announced that's new at the show?
Yeah, we have a lot of integrations that we've announced. So we're actually showing off a integration with OpenDrives. So with the OpenDrive solution on their Atlas platform, it's a one-click solution. So once you click the Massive button inside the Atlas software, you set that up, you put in your credentials, and then you can start sending files to and actually pulling files off of your OpenDrive storage. We announced our Mimir integration, which works really well with our custom forms. So with that Massive portal that I mentioned, we can actually set up a metadata form that you customize. That's metadata that you want to capture that maybe isn't included in something like an XMP header, and that will get passed through to Mimir. So you can add that to your Mimir MEM, your system. We actually also announced Cumulo. So we have a Cumulo S3 integration, which is, again, more that enterprise feature for those customers. So you can start sending stuff immediately, same through that portal, send it to Cumulo and also pull it from there. And we also announced a preview of our Frame.io v4 integration. So that'll be coming later this year as we continue to develop that API with Adobe.
Are we using your servers, or whose storage are we using when we upload to the cloud?
So yeah, Massive is built on the AWS infrastructure. So wherever AWS is, that's where Massive is. And again, we are completely certified SOC 2 TPN Gold members. So we go through a lot of certifications to make sure that content is secure. Once that media is on our platform and then we've delivered it, you have the option to delete that yourself or actually set that expiry to a single day. That content, we don't touch that content. We don't look at that content. There's a lot of security in place where we can't see your content. That's only delivered to who you want it to go to.
For people that haven't worked with Massive before, what are the key benefits you want them to know about?
I want them to know about the ease of use, number one, because sending large files is a problem still today. I understand that there are a lot of solutions out there, right? We have stuff like LucidLink. We have, Suite Studios is out there as well, and there's a lot of access there. But it's about getting those files into the cloud. That can sometimes be a pain, right? And it's about getting those files to your collaborators, because sometimes we don't have the budget to necessarily afford these cloud collaboration tools. It's great to work with that SSD that I've had or that Thunderblade that I've had on my desk that has lots of storage that I'm ready to work off of. Pushing that those big media files over the internet is a lot easier and makes you feel a lot better when the solution is reliable, robust, and I can just fire it up instantly.
Conner, thank you.
Larry, thank you so much. It's great seeing you.